canna lilies. Can I have one? Canna lilies are very colorful flowering plants, known for its clusters of striking blooms and large broad leaves. The leaves on most canna lilies are green, but some have a reddish purple and even purple with a bronze tinge on the leaves. The Bengal variety even has stripes on its leaves. Canna lilies are native to Central and South America, as well as parts of the Caribbean. It is also noted that their origins may include the southern United States, specifically Texas, all the way to Argentina and Uruguay. Indigenous tribes use canna lilies for their edible roots and for medicinal purposes. Canna lilies can grow anywhere from 3 to 6 feet in height, depending on the variety. The flowers are typically large and come in a variety of colors. You can find them in red, orange, yellow, pink, and multicolored. Horticulturalists and plant breeders begin hybridizing the canna lily to create different varieties, which is why we can find them with different flower colors, sizes, and foliage patterns. Canna lilies thrive in warm climates, and boy is it warm in Florida right now. They prefer full sun, but can tolerate some shade. I'd recommend part sun location for these. Though they can tolerate full sun, the Florida sun will likely start to scorch the leaves if there's too much sun exposure, so be mindful of that. Canna lilies make excellent container plants in both warm and cold climates. In cooler climates, you can bring your potted lilies indoors during freezing weather. This is also a good time for you snowbirds who have them planted in the gardens to harvest the rhizomes and store them indoors during the winter. In these colder climates, mulching around the base of the lilies can help protect the rhizomes during the winter, but it's probably a better idea to bring them indoors if possible. Soil that freezes over can cause some serious problems later on. And speaking of rhizomes, canna lilies can be grown, or propagated, by dividing the rhizomes. All you need to do is dig up a clump of the rhizomes when the plants are dormant, and this is usually late fall to early spring, and then just carefully separate them. That way you can grow some new plants. You can also harvest and plant the seeds of your canna lilies. The seeds are usually very hard and round. They take anywhere from 5 days to 3 weeks to begin germinating. You could scarify the seeds to help start germination much sooner, which is just making tiny cuts on the surface of the seed. Soaking them in warm water overnight helps also. But honestly, neither of those methods are necessary. As you can see here, I just take my seeds and poke them into the soil. I harvest some, then plant some back into the community, and then I put some in pots. There can never be too many canna lilies around the house, ever. And if you take a look here, you can see some of the new sprouts poking out of the soil. They'll start to grow into these tubular shapes like you see here, and after a couple of weeks, you'll have a stalk with a cluster of flowers. Canna lilies like well-drained soil and regular watering during their growing season. If you're in Florida, you'll want to blanket your soil or mulch around the plants to help retain moisture. For our lilies, we just use a mixture of leaf and grass clippings. It's cheap, it's effective, and it's cheap. You don't want to put a thick layer down, only about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. That should be fine. Fertilize your canna lilies with a balanced fertilizer every 2 months. I use an all-purpose fertilizer on one round, and then the next round I'll use something like Bloom Booster or a fertilizer that encourages larger blooms. And then we'll switch back to an all-purpose fertilizer on the next round. So we'll just alternate between the two formulas throughout the year. We've had great results. Deadheading spent flowers can encourage continuous blooming, although birds seem to love taking the spent blooms to insulate their nests, so you'll have a little bit of help. Canna lilies are considered to be hardy plants, but they can be susceptible to pests, such as aphids, caterpillars, or slugs. I've never run into any major pest problems, but I would recommend keeping some neem oil around for the aphids, or ladybug men or ladybug ladies. They'll also help control aphids. Sprinkling some Epsom salt around the base of the plants can help with any issues with slugs. Also, the magnesium in the Epsom salt will help promote greener foliage. As for caterpillars, they're practically unstoppable. They're like little garden ninjas. You never know where they came from, and you never know where they go after they devour your plants. At least stop by and say hi, Mr. Caterpillar. A thank you would be nice. Personally, I've never encountered caterpillars on my canna lilies, but I also grow milkweed, and they absolutely love that plant. If caterpillars do become a concern, try to identify what type of caterpillar you have, and then try growing a plant that's more attractive to that caterpillar. We do want butterflies in the spring and summer, so we have to compromise with our yard friends. Fungal diseases like rust and leaf spot may occur, particularly in very humid and moist conditions. You'll only have that problem if they're in too much shade and the water isn't evaporating fast enough. To offset your canna lilies that are in mostly shade, you'll just want to reduce how much you water them, not the frequency of watering, just how much water you give them. The shaded soil does need more time to dry out in most cases. Here in Florida, our shaded spots can become arid, so keep an eye on the moisture consistency in your soils. You can reduce the occurrence of fungal infection by watering at the base of the plant rather than overhead watering, as water may sit in between its leaves, in addition to the moisture in the soil. Canna lilies are relatively easy to grow. Give them well-draining soil, water them twice a week, only once if you're going to do a deep watering, or if they're in mostly shade. They'll add a beautiful touch of tropical color to your gardens with their bright and colorful blooms. They canna make your neighbors jealous, so plant a lot of them. Try mixing in different varieties to create a stunning display in your garden. You canna not go wrong. Well, I hope you decide to go buy some canna lilies and join the club. The Make Your Neighbors Jealous Club. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to wash your hands and enjoy the rest of your day.